2015. What another year of ups and downs. Of course I'm talking about Fallout 4's frame rate. Seriously, that game was so slow that PC users made a mod to add a blinker to the back of your character. War never changes. And apparently neither does the fucking AI pathing. You're telling me instead of just jumping over the guardrail, I can make a Deathclaw run all the way around it and shoot my way out of a battle in 10 seconds? I mean, how the hell are we all supposed to react to... fuck. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry, I just had to pay the fine bros $10 for using the word react. I really have to be careful now, because if you use it twice, they make you suck both their dicks at the same time. Yeah, how's that for a painfully obvious metaphor? But enough about the money line, bros, and on to the reason you all came here. To watch me rip apart the songs that tortured me last year. But first, in keeping with tradition of my year-end videos, let's see what else I can rip apart from last year. Man, where do I even begin? Well, Tara Reid looks like she spends her summers on the shores of Castle Grayskull. Glee actor Mark Salling took after fans of the show and started collecting child porn. Donald Trump is running for president. That's the entire joke. The police are responsible for the murder of more black people than the first 10 minutes of any horror film combined. Fuck anything that happened in the book. The most painful form of sadomasochism was sitting through that fucking movie. Bill Cosby sued 7 of his accusers for defamation because he claimed they were lying through their teeth. But the other 43? Yeah, no, they're still right. And Lena Dunham, you hypocritical piece of shit, the only difference between you and Bill Cosby is the number of victims and the fact that only one of you has had a watchable TV show. The only magical thing during Neil Patrick Harris's Oscar hosting was the 4-hour trick of the disappearing laughter. Caitlyn Jenner may have lost a dick this year, but the GOP gained 16 of them. Bad blood was everywhere this year. On the radio, in stores, all over the internet, inside Charlie Sheen. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 was more broken and ugly than Rodney Mullen's face. Fuck the dress. The most confusing color to figure out in 2015 was whatever the fuck color Rachel DeLisle was. Mark Wahlberg admitted to beating the shit out of an elderly guy to the point of near blindness in the 90s, claiming it was an accident and that's not who he is anymore. Look, I don't care what he did in the past. All I know now is that the accident on his head nearly blinded me sitting through the Lovely Bones. Turns out 19 Kids and Counting was named after Josh Duggar's previous relationship section on his Ashley Madison profile. Even in death, Nitro Circus is doing shit Jackass did 4 years earlier. Rihanna made a song this year promoting violence against women. I've got nothing. Robert Durst fucked himself harder than Pete Carroll fucked a practically gift-wrapped winning play at the Super Bowl, or harder than Ben Affleck fucked his nanny in the house his kids and overrated Steven Tyler-looking wife live in, or harder than Neil Blomkamp fucked me out at $10 when I went to see Chappie. When it came to the insane amounts of well-deserved criticism, SeaWorld was as unresponsive as their orcas' hearts after they shoved them in insufficiently sized clinks and forced them to do the same insipid tricks for 40 years. After years of besting opponents with his famous sleeper hold, the last person Rowdy Roddy Piper put to sleep was himself. We not only lost our 2 best late-night hosts this year, but we also kept our 2 worst. This year we finally figured out which size Jared Fogle prefers, and now he's getting locked up longer than those 20-year-old cookies Subway keeps trying to pawn off to everyone. Alvin and the Chipmunks, Paranormal Activity, and Divergent got sequels this year. Ugh. More people have asked for 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, and Holocaust sequels. The worst part of Summer Vacation was the summer vacation. San Andreas was about as entertaining as an actual natural disaster. The Ridiculous Six made me realize how funny Dr. Zhivago is. John Russell Hauser chose to fatally gun down 2 people in a Lafayette theater for Trainwrecked because everyone in the theater for Fantastic Four already shot themselves. Drake and Meek Mill beefed this year over who's the baddest motherfucker in the music biz, and they both lost. To Ariana Grande. 50 Cent named himself after how much money he has left in the bank. Justin Bieber apologized for his past behavior but has yet to apologize for his music. Bobby Christina Brown clearly took after her mother. Volkswagen blatantly faked their emissions tests in the same manner that strung-out hipsters blatantly fake orgasms in the back seats of their gaudy 40-year-old buses that they probably live inside. Hulk Hogan said some things we all know bounce around the inside of Vince McMahon's head as he's about to finish. Only difference is he got in trouble for it. And it makes sense, right? I mean, you gotta keep the racial sensitivity of a company whose gimmicks include whitey-bashing, fried-chicken-eating gang members, lawnmower-riding Mexicans, and a towel-headed religion-bashing terrorist up, right? Apparently being painstakingly unfunny can win you an Emmy. Brian Williams told some lies bigger than his forehead. People shelled out $100 to see a fight that I could see a better version of for free on a kindergarten playground. Seriously, Mayweather put up a better fight with his wife than he did with Pacquiao. I've seen less hugging at a fucking feminist rally. And those fat ugly bull dykes have twice the balls you do, so try picking a fight with one of those women, you spineless overpaid fuck. Drake's new look is apparently half of Mark Ruffalo and Foxcatcher. If Tom Brady taught us anything this year, it's that lying always wins if you're a cheating, overrated, self-absorbed drama queen, and no one is doing a goddamn thing about all those poorly treated people who can't ever go back home, spend their days in cruel, unforgivingly harsh environments, most not having seen their families in months or longer, and spend more time crying from depression and hopelessness than they do sleeping. Of course, I'm talking about the people who work at Amazon. And it's also tradition in my worst songs of the year list to put in my best songs of the year because, believe it or not, 2015 was actually a really, really great year for music, especially compared to 2014, and I had to put 15 songs on the list because of that. Now, let's get on to the real shit. Number 10, First Kiss by Kid Rock. What better way to kick off my yearly list of musical incompetence than with the shallow, untalented husk of a Brad Pitt wig who got famous for fucking Pamela Anderson's mud puddle of a vagina and for not making a good song in ever. But perhaps I'm being a bit too mean. I mean, Kid Rock is what's known in the music business as a triple threat, and that he can simultaneously ruin rap, rock, and country all at the same time. Seriously, Kid Rock's music is so bad that Taylor Swift listens to it and feels like she has self-respect. But in all seriousness, Kid Rock is the reason I get up in the morning, look out my window, and ponder if it's possible to fashion a hangman's noose out of one of my old t-shirts. I mean, this is the guy who claimed rap rock was pretty gay, but then whipped out his dick in front of the lead singer of fucking Creed, then shared a whore's mouth with him and let it get recorded. So, what did Kid Rock do to up the manliness of jarringly trying to make cooking grits sound gangsta? Clinging to the past and whining about his first kiss, of course. So let's see how Kid Rock, God, what a stupid name, went from the guy who out-Fred Dursted Fred Durst to the guy who can't even make it through a sentence in casual conversation without sampling a better song. Come on, everyone at home play along with me. See how many songs this one shamelessly bites off in a barely 5-second long period.
Yours is on a vacation far away.
I'd say that Kid Rock is the Stephen Glass of music, but that would be a bit too harsh. I mean, at least Stephen Glass was good at plagiarism. This is such a bad cover-up job that I hear kids thinking about becoming the Democratic frontrunner of 2016. And the shit he did think up himself is some of the most uninteresting and stale dreck I've heard this entire year. Have a cup of coffee or an adrenaline shot ready. Trust me, you'll need it.
I remember waiting for the school bus. Jenny Clayton was my first crush, and neither one of us had a clue.
I'm sorry, you must have misheard me. I said the shit that he thought up himself, not the shit we've already heard thousands of times before. What? Oh, that is the shit he thought up himself? Jesus, nothing in this song is original. Not the chords, not the lyrics, not the feel. Hell, not even his vocal range is remarkable in this song. It feels like he's singing at a level or two below what he should be for a song with this harmony. And even in its most basic form, with all its recycled cliches and humdrum singing, it isn't even memorable. 10 minutes after hearing it, the only thing you'll remember is how much it made you want to listen to Bryan Adams instead. The only thing even remotely resembling good country rock about this guy is the fact that he looks like one of the members of Lynyrd Skynyrd that didn't survive. In fact, I hear that this is what real country artists are going to start listening to when they don't want any second thoughts about drinking themselves to death. Hell, if Mindy McCready would have waited a couple more years to empty brass into her skull, she could have just thrown this on the radio and gotten the suicide right the first time. You know what? Let's play another game. Let's count all the overdone country cliches we can spot in this song. And if I missed a couple, please inform me in the comments below so we have a more accurate count.
In old Cheyenne, it was my first truck, rusted, rough, and kind of beat up. And now these days when I drive through a small town, I turn my stereo up and roll my windows down, 'cause it reminds me of my first kiss and those days that I always miss. And Tom Petty on the radio, no money, just time to spend.
how do you like that? At the end of the day, the message of the song is, I don't know how the hell we've managed to stay together this long, but now that you're all old and stuff, the only thing I see when I look at you is your more interesting younger self. I wish I could go back to those times because these ones kinda suck. Don't get me wrong, once in a while a little ditty about some summers ago or a first love is fine, but when you're constantly doing it over and over again to the point where, in your newest tripe, it makes it sound like you don't even love your partner anymore because you're too busy reliving the days that are gone, then that's a sign that it's time to hang up the towel with this lazy and reprehensible shtick. You're not in the past anymore, kid. You're not the same punk-ass, drug-dealing little high school dropout that looks like Macaulay Culkin got caught in one of his electrical traps in Home Alone. It's time to face facts. Now, you're lifeless, full of chemicals, and should have given up 20 years ago. You're like Roddy Piper's heart. First Kiss is last on the list because, overall, it's pretty harmless, and you really only listen to Kid Rock when you're an incestual pig farmer who only goes out to the east side to burn a cross or two. Or a heroin-addicted mud wrestler who specializes in wife-beating and holding up gas stations and had all 37 of his children when he was 13 with his second cousin, twice removed. So naturally, not a lot of people heard this one. I mean, to sum it all up, it's short, shitty, full of mistakes, but with a couple of saving graces few and far between. It's like Ludacris's IMDb page. In fact, if you can believe me, this isn't even the worst offense to country music this year. Yeah, I'm serious. Don't believe me? Just listen to Number 9. What's worse than a rapper trying to be a country artist, you might ask? Well, a country artist trying to be a rapper, of course. Kick the Dust Up by Luke Bryan's Long Nose is the final nail in the coffin for country and rap for me, and hopefully for the entire human race. This song is seriously so irritating that it made me want to grind out my eardrums with a rusty chisel, and if you had a shotgun pointed at my junk, I'm talking one barrel on each ball, and told me to listen to that song again, I'd say, buddy, you'd better just pull that trigger, because it would take a blue miracle to ever even make me come close to wanting to listen to that aggravating, vexatious, stupid pile of bio-laced heaping cow shit ever again. This bro country bullcrap might just be my least favorite genre of music. Worse than modern rap because all those songs sound mostly similar and involve the same recycled garbage we've seen on nearly every rap track this decade. Worse than kiddie pop because at the very least most of those kids don't know all that better and almost never make a career out of it, just a 1, 2, maybe 3-time thing that never stays on the airwaves for over a week, let alone charts anywhere. And yes, even worse than that unintelligible deathcore shit, because at least in that instance, most of the time you can't understand what the fuck they're shrieking about, whether that be because you genuinely can't understand them, or that the beat is so ear-piercingly shrill that your ears become filled up with blood, drowning out any semblance of musical present that it didn't already write out the window. No, this is a new breed of awful. Each and every one of these abominations have their own awkward, embarrassing, grating feel to them. Just like that one dad who always tries to act cool around his son's friends because his wife left him for a real estate salesman 10 years ago, and it never, ever works. And this, while it may not be one of the most egregious examples I've ever heard, showcases why that is in spades. So, let's see if we can find out why the hell the Jay Cutler impersonator who claims he isn't Bro Country's last 3 biggest singles are, you guessed it, Bro Country.
All week long it's a farming town. They're making that money grow. Tractors, plows with flashing lights, backing up a 2-lane road.
Here's the thing that irks me the most about Luke Bryan, besides the fact that he's basically the marginally less retarded-sounding Eric Church. He's one of those artists that think constantly mentioning trucks or anything to do with farming in a song automatically translates to country. He panders to the lowest common denominator of country music stereotypes to the point that you'll expect his next album to cover such good old Southern values like poverty, racism, and alcohol poisoning. I mean, Christ, it's almost like just the thought of a Southerner, dare I say it, living in a city doesn't exist in this guy's mind. People like Luke Bryan are part of the reason why mainstream country music is being represented so poorly these days. They keep defecating out songs that not only have the most generic thought-breathed sound you could possibly twang out in 2 minutes or steal off a Brooks and Dunn album, but they all say the same fucking thing over and over and over again. I mean, Christ, not even Jake Owen pandered this low in his tone-deafening of country stereotypes to line his pockets he called a summer jam. When the hell are all these new country artists, not just bro country, new country artists in general, going to realize that resorting to these lowered standards of songwriting and originality in general are absolutely unnecessary? And this guy is supposedly the best and most original of the bunch? Fuck fuck that noise, he's just another face in the crowd. He isn't more fresh or novel than any of these other lyrical fiends. He just gets publicized more because indistinguishability sells. Luke Bryan is more faceless than that lady who got attacked by that monkey from Connecticut. But yes, admittedly, I'm not the biggest country music fan. But it doesn't take a fool to realize that in order to have a good country song, you don't need to mention trucks, or beer, or farming, or slamming city folk, or name-dropping some shitty, unreliable car that rednecks drive. None of those are needed for a good country song, but these artists don't give a shit. They care about what's needed for a charting country song. All these clones being shat out by Luke Bryan, Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean, and what have you aren't coming from the heart and soul. They're coming from an attempt to emulate whatever they hear get popular on the radio so they can earworm every sad fuck with bad musical taste and earshot into helping it move up the chart. I mean, I can't even believe I'm about to say this, but not even Red Solo Cup is this shameless. Yeah, I said it. Don't get me wrong, it still sucks, but at least it's a somewhat authentic sucking, and not this processed formulaic bilge water. And you know what? Seriously, you want to know the fucking saddest part of all this? We haven't even gotten to the worst part of the song yet.
We go way out where there ain't nobody. We turn this cornfield into a party.
Now, this isn't the worst part of the song, even with that stupid fucking cornfield line. In fact, the instrumentals and vocal structure threaten to give this song a bit of atmosphere that branches off the beaten path of other bro-country bitches. But, as Luke Bryan will so astutely demonstrate in the next couple parts and on, we can't have that, can we? That isn't what's been charting. I mean, when the hell was the last time anyone has seen Johnny Cash or John Denver on the Billboard Hot 100? What was that? Oh, they're dead? Well, that's certainly no excuse, is it, Mr. Bryan? No, it's all about Chase Rice, Dustin Lynch, and Jake Owen these days. Forget all about what makes country music so great to so many people. If it doesn't sell to suburban kids who are always embarrassingly trying to act country, it doesn't matter. Now, I know what you're all thinking. With all the stereotypes, winged vocals, and blatant conventionality, this song can't possibly get any worse, right? Well, let's just say that if you thought that, then you'd be more wrong than whoever the hell cast Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor in the new Batman vs. Superman movie.
Keep the dust up. Back it on up. Fill your cup up. Let's tear it up. And kick the dust up. Kick the dust up. Kick the dust up.
Good lord, Luke Bryan is more lifeless than Sandra Bland's mugshot. Allegedly. Seriously, the last time I heard something this dull and lifeless, it was in the starring role of the Forger, or as I like to call it, 95 minutes wondering if Christopher Plummer is going to have a stroke. My favorite part of that movie was when my DVD player accidentally got unplugged 15 minutes into it. But speaking of boring forgers, back to Luke Bryan. Now this verse here perfectly showcases why this song doesn't work, and a major influence on its placement on my list. Nothing about this feels comfortable. Nothing about this feels natural. This entire verse has no idea what it wants to be. I mean, goddamn. At least the previous verses knew they were being barefaced rip-offs of the lowest grade pseudo-country songs. This is just baffling. The singer's tune is clearly not homogeneous with the beat, making for an awkward, discombobulated listen. And honestly, with how the rest of the song sounds and how needlessly off this section is, it makes it seem like this was hastily shoehorned in as a last-ditch effort during writing. You know what this is like? Russell Crowe in Les Miserables. And no, it isn't a punchline for another one of my movie puns that 3 people get and maybe 1 person laughs at. This is serious. These two are so similar because, in Russell's case, yeah, he is a trained singer. But the only problem is that he's trained in folk. So being in tune with folk music is one thing, but when you expect him to tackle a whole other genre of music with that interpretation of tuning, then it just won't fit. These types of music require 2 very different vocal capacities. The same goes here. Luke Bryan's tune is totally inadequate for a beat like this, making it sound even more unpleasant than it should be. Only in this case, as opposed to Russell's, Luke Bryan has the singing expertise of an asthmatic wildebeest being anally shredded by an obese walrus with laryngitis and infected vocal cysts. As much as I don't care for country music, you can't deny that commonly slammed big names like Tim McGraw, Montgomery Gentry, Big and Rich, oh okay, maybe not Big and Rich, and Brad Paisley have decent vocals. By that I mean, even if you don't like their music, you can at least listen to their songs and tell they're trying. You can tell they're putting their heart into it, and they can definitely hold their own. Now, Listen to this shit. Listen to shit like this. It sounds more like talking than singing. And don't give me that excuse that it sounds like this because it's a mix of country and rap. Because even rap should have soul. Just as Tupac, Kendrick Lamar, and NWA have taught us, and as Meek Mill, Future, and Nicki Minaj have let us forget. This is a predictable, unwanted snooze fest that you can mix and match with any of Luke's supposed bro country tunes and really not miss out on anything. And Luke, I feel like you could really make up for all those missteps by bringing back just one of country music's oldest, most deep-rooted traditions. Death by plane crash. Number 8. Let's get serious for a minute. When you think of horrible, downright appalling disasters that have ever hit New York City in recent memory, what is the first thing that comes to mind? An act so heinous and reprehensible that we all remember where we were when we witnessed it. The perpetrator's clear goal being to kill a little bit of each of us inside that would never be the same again. A monstrous act of terror that will go down in infamy as one of the biggest attacks against people like you and I that has ever taken place. That's right. Pixels. Never forget, ladies and gentlemen. Never forget. But what could possibly be more horrific and catastrophic than the worst movie of the year? Well, a song made for the worst movie of the year, of course. Game On by Waka Flocka Flame featuring Good Charlotte. Let me say that one more time, guys. Waka Flocka Flame featuring Good Charlotte. I'm so sorry, but please allow me to say that a third time. Waka Flocka Flame featuring Good Charlotte. What kind of 35-year-old who still thinks he's 19 thought that was a good idea? I mean, Jesus Christ, these two are a worse mix than Joseph Gordon-Levitt and a French accent. Seriously, the last time I saw these guys together was in the bargain bin at Costco. Now, I'm no betting man, but I bet this song came to be because some asshole heard shell-shocked and thought, dumb puns, half-baked beat, terrible vocals, shitty artists, terrible movie. I like it, but I really don't like that they at least use artists who were mostly relevant. No, see, I have a different idea. Let's make that song, but with artists that haven't been relevant in years. But not for like even the same amount of years. No, let's just fucking mix and match it, you know? One artist who no one's given a shit about in 5 years and a band no one's given a shit about in 15 years. Now, I've got a feeling Soulja Boy and Sum 41 will say no, so let's just eliminate the middleman and see who's at the bottom of the list. Oh, let's see. Who the fuck are these guys? Oh, never heard of them. Fuck it. Put them on the track. I mean, these two couldn't be more different yet have the same amount of suckage. It's an anomaly. So, hate comedy but don't have the money or decency low enough to go out and see Larry the Cable Guy? Well, have I got good news for you. Let's see how many bad video game puns it's humanly possible to be shoved into a 4-minute time frame without having to read an IGN article praising Sonic Free Riders or fucking Destiny. Yeah, because that's not annoying.
Assassin, soldier and a captain, still a passion, no compassion, but I'm asking. You say you pray while I'm attacking.
Most of the time when pampered, modern rappers sing about bad shit they've supposedly done, I tend not to believe them. But here, I'm totally convinced. I genuinely believe Waka's attacking the English language. My god, what a fucking dentist drill to the cochlea this garble is. He sounds like DMX doing his absolute worst to DMX impression. Waka's delivery is weaker than CeeLo Green's defense. Waka's delivery is weaker than CeeLo Green's hairline. Waka's delivery is weaker than CeeLo Green's bathroom scale. Waka's delivery is weaker than... No, seriously, fuck CeeLo Green. Except Crazy, that was a seriously awesome tune. Apparently they ended up right here promoting the worst movie of the year for the paycheck. But in all seriousness, besides the choice of artists, I can see where they were going with this song, but the execution just falls flat. The pixelated beat is good in theory in that it's trying to emulate classic games of the 80s, but in the end it just ends up sounding like Lamar Odom's heart rate monitor. And the same goes with those random bouts of static. But with a lead singer that sounds like Will Arnett barfing up metal shavings, they're really unneeded and just add to the overall unappealing, starkly contrasted clusterfuck of sound mixing. Cacophonous on both sides of the pitch spectrum. And as if the contrast wasn't gratingly mispaired enough, let's see what two totally straight bikers who specialize in making Guitar Hero DLC rejects have to offer to this mess. So if you haven't already fallen asleep yet because this fucking flow is slower than Ben Carson's delivery and brain activity combined, then let me just state that I haven't been this non-threatened by something supposed to be threatening since they cast Mila Kunis as the Wicked Witch of the West. Christ, this song is less cool than vaping. I mean, what the hell could possibly be less menacing than being threatened through use of video game wordplay by a one-trick pony band who made one okay song 14 years ago, and a rapper named Joaquin who can only talk shit on Twitter and in songs that 6 people listen to, both of whom doing so in a song for an Adam Sandler and Kevin James comedy that conveniently forgot to add in the comedy. None of this works on any level. And what the hell are they doing using even blander lyrics than they used in 2002 to do it? Guys, you can't keep devolving in a day and age where music should theoretically be adapting and advancing. I mean, come on, it's a new day, but it all feels old. It's the good life. That's what I'm told, but everything, it all just feels the same. Shit like this brings the song's credibility down into the negatives, somewhere between Rick Perry's fake glasses look and that new Ride Along sequel. In closing, there's really nothing more you can say about this song besides, wow, and I thought EA brought video game integrity down. And like EA, everyone involved with the making of it made some big, expensive, overhyped mess that dumb little kids ate up that proliferates all the worst aspects of the gaming culture for some shameless fat cash. Number 7. Before I go over what 2 songs are tied for number 7, let me address something. In all honesty, the thing that surprised me the most about a lot of these worst songs of 2015 lists is how high most of them placed Watch Me by Silento. Most lists I've seen have had this song in the top fucking 3. Now yeah, it's awful as hell. I mean, it really sucks. To put it into perspective, after hearing this song, I wanted to do something much more conducive to a healthy lifestyle, so I decided to take up meth addiction, drunk driving, and watching Tyler Perry movies. Not to mention that Silento's vocals are so bad that Brian Williams claimed he couldn't stand hearing them being played all the time while he was stationed in Wagga Wagga, Australia with Chuck Norris, a talking ferret, and George Washington's ghost. Seriously. Just listen to how much this sounds like Steve Urkel chugging a tall cup of Kevin Hart's penis paste.
You already know what it is. Silento.
Jesus Christ, his pitch is higher than Kelly Clarkson's cholesterol. But that alone can't make worst song of the year material as long as Selena Gomez is still breathing. So what else do we got? Well, there's the fact that this song is more or less the blatant stealing of other popular dances and pasting them over a mechanical beat so it'll shoot up the charts. But that can't be why people detest this song so much. I mean, Eli Roth steals better shit from people and makes it his own all the time. And people love him. Now, here's my main problem with the song. It wouldn't even be worth my time here if it were just for those previous things, you know, the bad vocals, the unoriginal lyrics, a paper-thin cash grab reason for existing. Songs like that come out all the time. But this song can't leave bad enough alone. It takes all that and repeats it over and over and over again. It takes the worst aspects of any other bad modern song and regurgitates them to the point of insanity. I know you've already heard this millions of times before, so what's one more for emphasis gonna hurt besides a few thousand brain cells, a good appetite, and the will to live?
Now watch me whip. Now watch me nay-nay. Okay. Now watch me whip, whip. Watch me nay-nay. Why me do it? Now watch me whip. Watch me nay-nay.
My God, how repetitive this is. I haven't seen a malnourished black guy do this much whipping since 12 Years a Slave. And to make matters worse, this shit played everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Clubs, school dances, stores, radios, anywhere on the internet, TV shows, plumber conventions, funerals, Pearl Harbor memorials. This song was in more places where no one wanted it in 2015 than the Confederate flag. And that's all you can really say about this track. At times the laziness of the hook can be pretty catchy and there really isn't a whole lot to this song. Yeah, it's pretty abysmal, but top 3 material? Not even close. In fact, this isn't even the worst song made only to promote a forgettable pseudo dance from last year. No, that honor goes to Hit the Quan. Hit the Quan by I Love Memphis or I Heart Memphis, whatever name he picks won't make him suck any less, is to Watch Me what Watch Me is to Hit the Quan. No, seriously, they're both just stupid fucking dance songs with a singer who's ironically awful at singing. I don't even have a complete comparison for that one, but don't worry, I won't need one after you hear this shit.
Hit the quad, hit the quad, hit the quad, hit the quad. I said get down low and swing your arm. I said get down low and hit the quad.
Truly a modern-day Charles Dickens. Quan and arm? That your big hook rhyme? Quan and arm? Yeah, Those words match about as well as Olga K and that shit she smears all over her face and expects us to still think she looks like a human being. You look like a man in drag. And how about those vocals, huh? He sounds like that one kid in every high school class who thought he could rap despite everyone telling him to shut the fuck up, grew up to be a bad Cleveland show voice. Or in other words, a Cleveland show voice. His pitch is higher than Robert Downey Jr. in 1999. Seriously, how can people listen to this? Fuck, at least with Watch Me I can reluctantly agree that the hook can be catchy. But this? Is this even singing? This is just a crude mixture of talking and yelling. Seriously, besides a couple of memorably stupid lines, nothing about this song stands out in the slightest. Hell, it was made last year and already it's dated. I don't get it. Do these crappy-ass one-and-done dance artists want their songs to stand the test of time? Or sleazily give in to whatever's popular at the time? And I mean really fucking milk it. There's a reason dance songs like the Electric Slide, the Hustle, the Macarena, and the Cha-Cha Slide still hold up to this day and are always easily accessible at weddings, school dances, and whatnot, even if they aren't the most catchy songs in the world. It's because they try. They fucking try to make a fun dance song everyone can have a good time attempting. Sometimes they succeed, and sometimes they don't. But even when they don't succeed in being the catchiest must-do dance craze of the era, that isn't what's important. What's important is that they succeed in trying and still making the song revolve around that dance. Not do any confusing allusions and references that won't be relevant in a year or two, any shameless self-promoting that we damn well know won't work, any recycling of overdone and tired tropes we've seen in every single song that year. Basically, these songs go out of their way to make themselves as non-unique and non-timeless as possible. Left to be popular for a couple of months tops, then afterward nothing more than a question on a 2010s Trivial Pursuit game 20 years from now as people read it and say, "Oh my god, remember him?" And of course we answer that with a hard no. Number 6. 4 or 5 Seconds by Rihanna, Kanye West, and Paul McCartney, which I can only assume is named after how long Paul McCartney has left. Hell, instead of a limo I heard they drive him around in a hearse just in case. But he isn't the only one looking like an Agent Orange survivor in this video. Look at how haggard everyone looks in this video. Why the hell did they make them look like that? That would be like making an AC/DC movie and casting them all as themselves. But let's be honest. This song is really only by Rihanna and Kanye since all they made Paul do is play the same forgettable, repetitive guitar loop throughout the whole song that tonally is completely off from the shoddy fucking vocals. Seriously. Paul's doing about as much talking in this song as John Lennon is right now. But unlike the Wings, I'm not going to overstay my welcome repeating the same shit over and over again. So let's see why this song is a bigger offense to a former Beatles member than Mark David Chapman.
I think I've had enough.
Ugh, me too. Who the fuck let a feral banshee walk into the recording? Since I don't want my ears to implode, the basic summary of this first verse is that Rihanna is just so misunderstood and trying to keep her cool. Wow. What a profound statement to match the painstakingly obvious attempt at art house minimalism with a production value lower than Chelsea Handler's comedic ability. Not only does this bring the song's potential down, but it only adds to the sentiment that whenever Rihanna sings about something, it's the most uninteresting, boring tripe imaginable. Seriously, bland lyrics like these have been in your mouth more times than Chris Brown's fist. And speaking of whipped rappers, want to hear Kanye West sing? Of course you don't, but here it is anyway.
Woke up an optimist. Sun was shining, I'm positive. Then I heard you was talking trash. Hold me back, I'm about to spaz.
Oh my god, that sounds fucking horrendous. The bad decisions made in this song just keep piling up. Is this the same guy who wrote the last season of Dexter? Seriously though, joke's on me, right? I mean, Kanye West singing? That's a worse idea than letting Jared Fogle chaperone the middle school dance. Trust me, free 6 inches for everybody doesn't mean what you think it means. In all seriousness, he sounds like the red guy from the Don't Hug Me I'm Scared videos who has absolutely no enthusiasm toward anything he's saying. I mean, what did he think he was going to accomplish with that? Cake sings like that, and the most they're getting is performing with other acts people cared about 10 years ago in front of 99 out of 100 empty rows of chairs while the singer from System of a Down is backstage jerking it to 9/11 videos. Kanye West is to singing what Scarlett Johansson is to superhero movie acting. Boring. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love a lot of Kanye West's raps. He really does have a true emotion when he raps, and he has usually perfect flow. Not to mention he has a totally unique sound. But the majority of Kanye's verses here seem pretty lyrically confused. A lot of it is him trying to get people close to him to defend his childish actions because he's kind. even going as far as to use that defense to have them bail him out of jail. Yeah, because that's where kind people go. Jail. And not only that, he also turns it into making himself the victim and oh god, I can't do this self-justifying audaciousness justice just by talking about it. Seriously, listen to the line directly after this.
They wanna buy my pride, but that just ain't up for sale.
I call bullshit. Knowing Kanye West, I say not only is it up for sale, but for $120 more than the rational price. The more I listen to this, the more I want them to just let Paul sing. Sure, he'd probably sound like Michael Caine gargling Mick Jagger's ballsack, but at least it would sound better and have more credibility than Kanye West's tone-deaf, unsteady stumblings. I mean, my god. Every time I watch Paul wander around the set like he has attention deficit disorder without a single verse, I know in my heart Ringo Starr is rolling over in the coffin that he sleeps in. If I wanted to watch an old dinosaur wander around and not do anything interesting for a long period of time, I'd go see Jurassic World. But let's be honest for a second. Not even McCartney could save this one. Look, I get it. Paul McCartney is a living legend. I mean, he's like a superhero, and that superhero is the Punisher, because he vehemently clings to the past and all his friends are dead. But instead of killing bad guys for vengeance, Paul is killing listeners' brain cells because all his part in this is stumbling around aimlessly with no clear purpose, like George Harrison's solo career. But also, in a prime example of the great taking a step down, he not only helped write and produce it, but confusingly also had some writing from Ty Dolla $ign. Jeez, one of the kings of blandness was behind this too? No wonder it sounds so fucking boring. And you know what makes this whole thing even more perplexing? People loved this song. Yeah. It got some of the most rave reviews of the year. I mean, wow. I'm impressed. This is easily one of the most lifeless, boring, stodgy pieces of shit I've ever had put me to sleep. And this is coming from a guy who made it through the first 10 minutes of a Jeff Dunham special and only dozed off twice. Now, I'm certainly not trashing them for trying out a different approach and execution. In fact, I applaud it. Seriously. There's nothing wrong with branching off the beaten path and trying new things, especially in this day and age. But that doesn't mean that it isn't also dull, lyrically confused, and awfully sung. Except from Rihanna, who actually has a very good sound in this song compared to a lot of her other boring club songs. But no matter who the hell they got to clearly play second banana in this song was always destined for mediocrity, and only stayed relevant for about 4 or 5 seconds. Number 5, Hoodie On by Matt and Kim. The real who's who of who? Seriously, these guys' chart positions are more empty and non-existent than Donald Trump's brain. This song is literally just a list of things they did with a hoodie on. That's it. There's no rhyme or reason to any of this crap either. It's just a bunch of random-ass arbitrary things with the phrase "with a hoodie on" stapled to the end. Now, let me preface before I dive head-on into this poop shoot. I really can't stand this hipster indie trash. If you like it, more power to you, but it's some of my least favorite music. Period. This here is shit 34-year-old food truck workers who still shop for clothes at Hot Topic listen to while they're crammed in a Starbucks booth with an unnecessary laptop and those stupid-ass enormous glasses without the lenses in them. And again, take into account, it's also a song about a fucking hoodie. Christ, this song is wider than the 2016 Oscar nominations. So, why would I rather have a professional golfer take a driver swing to my Adam's apple than listen to this ear-splitting sludge? Well, let me answer that question with another question. Have you ever wanted to hear what the audible equivalent of a bus full of heartwarming orphans drowning sounds like? Well, here you go.
Looking like a king, looking like a king, looking like a king.
That's the first 15 seconds of the song. My god. And it repeats later on, too. Where 2014 had the trend of nonsensical sexual euphemism, 2015 seems to have a trend of vocals not matching with the beat. And don't worry, it still continues throughout the rest of the list. The beat sounds like a collection of random noises from one of those knockoff soundboard apps someone made on MS Paint, and the vocals sound like that I Feel Fantastic robot with food poisoning. How else would you explain the haphazard delivery of these lines and the fact that it stops midway through every fucking time? They might be fighting the urge to heave up chunks, presumably trying to relate to the listeners with a me listening to Matt and Kim impression. I mean, come on. Who the hell just stops halfway through a line? Jesus, these two have caused more premature terminations than Planned Parenthood. These two are responsible for more stupid and pointless terminations than whoever the fuck directed the last 2 shitty-ass Terminator movies. This intro is more unfinished than Fallout New Vegas. And speaking of things that recycle shit they've done better years ago, listen to how the rest of the song goes.
I wrote this song with a hoodie on. I woke up like this, put a hoodie on. Been around the world
fucking hate this song with a hoodie on. I'd rather take a pair of rusty pliers and yank out my uvula with a hoodie on. See how annoying this is with a hoodie on? And they repeat this line 20 goddamn times with a hoodie on. Do people like hearing the same flat crap repeated again and again in the same song instead of a varying collage of sounds with a hoodie on? Okay, fuck it, I'm not doing this shtick anymore. With a hoodie on. See? You didn't like that, did you?
I don't dress up for much, just a hoodie on. I look like a king with a hoodie on.
Yeah, while you're putting that hoodie on, I'll be putting my noose on. Seriously, this song is so gay that Kim Davis won't give it a marriage license. Also, I'd like to ask, you get dressed in just a hoodie? As in, nothing else, just, the hoodie? What, are you guys' sales so low that you had to sell the rest of your clothes to pay the heat bill? Hell, after hearing your new album, I'll be happy to send it back so you guys can have more fuel for your fireplace and or fractured garbage can outside a liquor store.
Bought my new house with a hoodie on.
What, on The Sims 3? Because I highly doubt that a couple of starving artists who make Soulja Boy and Andrew WK the big gets just casually buy houses. Hell, if Soulja Boy lives in a dumpster, you two live in the smaller, more putrid one across the street. Fuck Drake, you guys started from the bottom. And you're still there. Because you're eating food off the ground. But what can you expect from releasing some of the whitest songs in existence that all sound exactly the same for 10 years? You know why Tool can get away with releasing that same shit for decades? No, really, I'm asking. I figured you guys would know since I truly have no fucking idea. As you can tell, at this point in the song, they're just serving up the same shit over and over again, just like Woody Allen. But thankfully for us, this song, like G.G. Allen's life, was mercifully short. So that's all the lyrical analysis you can really do. So, what can you really say about this song that already hasn't been said about Emma Stone's speech pattern? It's certainly original, but not in a good or pleasantly listenable way. For me, this just sounds annoying. The beat and vocals don't mix, and even if they did, they're both shitty in their own way. And for how hipster it clearly is trying to be, it's too stupid to be pretentious and too exciting to be anything from fun. So yeah, it's something new, but as I said in the last rank, that doesn't always translate to something good. It's like if you walked outside your house and the first thing you saw was a sloth primally mouth-fucking a statuette of Ronald McDonald. Yeah, it's new, but did you really need to see that? Did anyone ask for that to be made public? People aren't shitting on how bad the song is. People are giving Matt and Kim shit because they want them to go back to doing the same tired crap again and again when it's clear they'd like to try something different, if only for a little while. Shit, you'd think they'd be LoganCrews talking about movies or something. And I realize that music isn't made to just appeal to whatever everyone else wants, but come on, a 3-minute song about a fucking hoodie. It's safe to say that it goes without saying that no one was shocked when we found out who this song's audience was. Nobody. Number 4. 2015 might just be the saddest year for rap ever. Flashback to the 1990s. Rap's golden age. Hip-hop artists were coming out of the woodwork with catchy, meaningful, yet intimidating songs with an intense emphasis on lyricism and passion. Each mogul had their own unique personality that translated to their musical persona, and rappers actually had palpable credibility. Hip-hop, gangsta rap, R&B, all that was great and it was only getting better. Flash forward to the present time. What the hell happened? Tupac is dead, Biggie is dead, the Beastie Boys are all old, dead, and pathetic. Dr. Dre is an anxiety-ridden old fossil who claims 99% of his yearly income from plasticky, overpriced headphones that only suburban middle schoolers use. Ice-T is still the true OG, when OG stands for Old Geezer. LL Cool J is basically the slightly less retarded-looking Biz Markie with only one listenable song and who hasn't been in a watchable movie since 1999. I'm pretty sure all the members of Naughty by Nature are homeless. Salt and Peppa look like the only place they should be pushing it is on the set of an Activia commercial. Lil' Kim's perjury-having fake ass found the same plastic surgeon as Leatherface from the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot, and after hearing her new album is better off recording her next one in a car behind Suge Knight's in a casino parking lot. Snoop Dogg is still mumbling about how cool he was in 1993 on every track within a 10-mile radius to pay the electric bill. Think Eminem is still good? He's a bitchy, overrated, devolved song-sampling pillhead with 20 writers, a fan base of wannabe aggro 4th graders, and a peak somewhere in late '02. Cypress Hill should just take solace in knowing that they'll only be remembered for being the 16th best song on a third-rate excuse for a Saints Row sequel because you'd have to be insane in the membrane to actually enjoy their last 5 albums. Bones, Thugs, and Harmony still roll up to the crossroads every now and again, but that's because they're all Uber driving to pay the rent. The only time Craig Mack gives people a flava in their ear nowadays is when they find him on a BuzzFeed BuzzFeed countdown from their 46-year-old friend's Facebook link of monotonous 90s one-hit wonders who currently work at a Jack-in-a-Box and are harboring a crystal meth addiction. People still don't remember Twista. Eazy-E was a little too easy. And P. Diddy is leading Forbes' highest-paid rap stars because apparently not making a good song in 18 years pays big bucks. And yeah, Jay-Z and Nas will put out a good song every now and again, but when the main Grammy-winning single off your new album is a 5.5-minute self-important snooze fest that sounds exactly like the other 15 lazily written yawns about how much money you have on the track list, then you have the rapping credibility of the Top Chef failure who's on 5 minutes after you on your 19th appearance on Ellen. Not to mention that dumb, inexplicable Nirvana sampling that's so bad it makes me want to swallow a shotgun blast. And yeah, Timberlake is great as always on it. But if Pitbull made a career out of letting the second billing be the best part of his songs and he still can't beat Nicki Minaj in sales, then it's probably not the best idea for the guy who's fucking Beyonce to do it. And you know what? I can accept that. At the absolute end of the day, I can accept all that. But someone please, for the love of all those Grammys that Lauryn Hill probably just uses to scrape the denture cream off the roof of her mouth, now tell me. Tell me why Soulja Boy is still making music. And not only that, people are listening to it. This is a dangerous man. A one-man army out to single-handedly kill rap music. And this, dare I say it, is worse than Crank Dat. Just let that speak for itself, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's see what Soulja's been up to since his Oscar nod for Captain Phillips.
Diamonds in my watch, diamonds in my chain, flash. Diamonds in my ear, pull off 5 flames. Diamonds in my watch, diamonds, hurricane, hurricane. Whip, hurricane.
That's the whole song. I shit you not. Look at these lyrics. Besides one fucking verse that I'm gonna go over in a bit, this shitty flow, shitty beat, and shitty vocals are the whole song. That is what he wants to be emphasized to his listeners the most. God, this song has less weight on it than insert Alicia Keys' body part here. This sounds like some shit that was written to be performed at Speaker Knocker's open casket funeral. But seriously, how do you like those vocals, huh? Oh, who the fuck am I kidding? You can't even call them that, can you? They're more like constipated grunts. Seriously, he sounds like 50 Cent if he got shot in the brain, too. Shit, if this were a game of get rich or die trying, they'd have been lowering this retard's casket 8 years ago. The only acknowledgments this hack deserves aren't for his music, but for the fact that he's a Chicago rapper who's still alive at 25. And the only reason no one wants to kill him is because his career already started digging the hole. But back to the song. What the fuck does hurricanes have to do with any of this? Hopefully the one different verse will explain it for us. Of course it fucking won't, but let's sit through its awfulness anyway.
Oh no, hey. Call up the plug, he bringing me dough. Hey. Hop in the Ferrari, cause I wanna roll.
Of course it's just a bunch of shit recycled from other rap songs. What else did you honestly expect it would be? And why are people obsessed with gawking over the material possessions of rap artists? I mean, this shit keeps selling, so people must like listening to it. Especially those as mundane and untalented as Soulja Boy, a name that's been synonymous with shit and cock herpes since the beginning. Is it because they love seeing what a failure their lives turned out in comparison? Or perhaps it can make them believe that they can somehow make more by accomplishing less? Yeah, well I hate to break it to you, but Amber Rose already beat you to it. Fingering Kanye West's asshole, taking Wiz Khalifa's chemotherapy cock, and basically signing yourself up for AIDS isn't a career, but she's still making a healthy 6 figures. Meanwhile, Soulja's making 6 figures on the dislike bar. Seriously, even if you were rich, who the fuck cares? And at the very least, if you are going to reheat this ancient shtick, at least fucking rap it good. Get that car you rented and a handful of singles that there's probably more of in a Burger King cash register and go drive yourself to a singing class. Because as it stands, you sound like Tyga with autism. Only difference is Tyga fucks kids, and here, you only fucked yourself. Seriously, even your fans are rejecting this crap. Do you honestly expect us to believe that you have any cred whatsoever? Seriously, rappers back then used to run in with the law almost every day. Meanwhile, the only police this guy's getting involved with are the fashion police. He looks like an unregistered sex offender who got dressed by Flava Flav's retarded, unsuccessful cousin in the 90s. I mean, Christ, what a bad song. Everything here is absolute garbage. It's honestly like he's not even trying, and hopes he'll get by just by coasting off past fame. Well, I've got news for you. That's not how it works. Just because you have a fan base doesn't mean you can mindlessly crap out this lifeless drivel clearly showing you've given up and expect them to still be there when you wake up from the recording session you so obviously slept through. Fuck, even Crank Dat. had more energy than this. And that's one of the worst disgraces to music, period. I hate to make the obvious joke here, but this is the worst hurricane in recent memory than Hurricane Katrina. Seriously, I bet 10 years ago when the citizens of Louisiana were floating into the megadome on a car hood, the first thought that popped into their heads was, nope, still not worse than Pretty Boy swag. And it fits because his rapping is even worse for your health than their food. Fuck this clown. For clearly not showing a love for the craft that so many more talented young artists have been trying and failing to do for years, and for seeing his fan base as a bunch of sycophantic droolies who will keep throwing approbation at any witless verbal diarrhea he shits out. And let me end this bit with an even more morbid fact. The next 3 songs on this list actually have worse vocals than this. So if you're faint of heart or have a weak stomach, I strongly suggest turning back now if my crass, offensive jokes or that fucking Pixel song haven't already swayed you. Number 3. Fuck this song. Seriously. Fuck this song. Hell, I'd rather fuck it than these 2 suburban moms trying to seem hip around their slutty, coke-headed freshman daughters. I haven't seen this much washed-up trash together since I walked the shores of the Indian beaches. But I don't get it. I mean, this song is called Pretty Girls, so where are they? Are they standing behind you? Did you cover them in your organ juices and slurp up their brains, then disguise yourselves in 3 stories of makeup to resemble 2 desperate careers? And you know what the saddest thing is? Britney Spears is actually very pretty, but here, in the song that is supposed to glamorize her, you'd never tell. Now how the fuck does that work? And I know what you're thinking. What about Iggy Azalea? I mean, isn't she pretty in a sex change patient type of way? I call upon last year LoganCrews to clear up the air. Being the slightly more fuckable Iggy in the music industry, Iggy Azalea is the worst thing to come out of Australia since Vegemite. You know that one white friend everyone has who always tries to act black and it is just painful to watch? Yeah. That's Iggy Azalea in spades, folks. She's 12 skin tones and another ass implant away from being Nicki Minaj. She looks like a cashier at Spencer's Gifts. And it still rings true to this day. But speaking of things that are a year old, this song's style. Yeah, because that drawn-out vocal ascension hasn't been at the start of thousands of fucking songs already. Seriously, who the hell keeps demanding these?
All around the world, pretty girls. Wipe the floor with all the boys. Pour the drinks, bring the noise. Biggie eggs.
Okay, am I the only one that thinks this song sounds like one of those Patrice Wilson cash-ins like Friday or Thanksgiving for almost 35-year-old women? Yeah, like that. But you know what? Unlike those other Epicac replacements, you guys didn't listen to this. It flopped and people forgot about it in less than 3 weeks. Good job, guys. I commend you on your valiant work. And come on, you recite this line with a veneer of self-importance so much that you'd actually think it'd be true or something. Nice try. But I could watch The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and have a more active libido. Seriously. So far, none of this shit is true or deserving of any recognition whatsoever. This sounds like it was written by the same monkey that picked out the 2014 Grammy nominations. And I'm not going to comment on the vocals here because, believe it or not, they get worse. Much worse. Like, a lot. So much worse. Astronomically worse. You get it.
Is it true that these men are from Mars? Is that why they be acting bizarre? Every time I walk out of my house, it's like, hey, baby.
What the fuck was that? Britney's attacking my ears harder than she attacked that car in 2007. Who actually enjoys when the pitch of a singer is warped to the point of a white noise? You know, like when you get an ear infection and everything sounds like ringing in a tunnel? That's what this shit is. If you were that person, please raise your hand so we can eliminate you and stop the production of this dump. And the vocals aren't the only thing that's been distorted beyond repair. This beat is a complete clusterfuck. I mean, there's a million different things happening at once here. The beat line is more polluted than Flint's water supply. The sheer ridiculousness of this song and the fact that no one listens to it is honestly making me believe that this exists solely to destroy famous people's careers. Like the Nixon administration, the last 2 months after rehab, and being Tiger Woods. And since this is basically attempting to be Fancy Part 2, I mean, come on, have you heard that fucking beat? Let's listen to Iggy's scant verse.
It's a thin line between a beauty and a beast. Slim waist, thick cake, the whole world want a piece. Bad girl, good, will make you lose your mind. While other boys begging Britney, hit it one more time.
Wow. When you have a song where even Iggy Azalea, the centaur that put out more unappealing crap last year than Taco Bell's breakfast menu, sounds like she doesn't give a shit, something is drastically wrong. I mean, sure, normally she sounds like Kermit the Frog put through a garbage disposal, but here she sounds like Kermit the Frog getting put through a garbage disposal. A garbage disposal that is clearly half-assing it. It's a strange starkness of contrast wherein Britney's trying too hard and Iggy's not trying enough. Usually it's the other way around. But, my God, what kills this song is its obnoxiousness. Holy shit. This beats Hoodie On with flying colors and most ear-piercing distortion of vocals. And the beat? I mean, what were they thinking? It so clearly rips off Fancy, which, as it stands, already isn't a good thing, but it adds the most stock, trite finger snaps, drum snares, and beat pauses that are in every single song that gets ricocheted up the charts by curious YouTube views and overplaying. Whereas the last couple songs on this list didn't try enough, this one tries too much, just to be, at the end of the day, commonplace. But let me get gravely serious here for a minute, guys. The thing I really have an issue with this song is this particular part here. The rest of the song is just an overblown vanity project for two troubled, fading musicians that really doesn't stick with you because of how banal it is. But this part here is what really troubles me. Think of this song's main demographic. Young girls, right? While other people can and certainly have listened to this song, though not for long, young girls are clearly who this is aimed towards. That's why I have a problem with the blatant arrogance and snootiness in this line that elevates the song as a whole's ego. Shit right here, shit like this, causes the proliferation of a lot of our female youth's pretentiousness. A lot of kids listening to this song look up to these guys and often can relate to their lyrics, and when they listen to shit like this, it makes them think it's okay to be a complete bitch to get what they want based on looks. Fuck being developed in any other manner. Looks can get you by, right? This is not a good message to send to children. I go to a small town high school. I've seen this conceit up close, and believe me, it's pretty fucking nauseating. You want to know what happens when those looks you think you have, though sometimes in reality you look more like a bi-curious Boy Scout, go away, and you can't audition to be one of those hubristic, malnourished Vanity Fair models anymore because 30 is considered ancient by those standards? Please refer to number 1 on this list. Seriously though, if you go your entire life using looks as the sole standard and everything else is second besides petty manipulation and your egotistical hierarchy you've put yourself on top of, you're in for a tough fucking life. People will eat you alive because, let's be brutally honest, this is a cruel fucking world. If you don't accept dissent and that you won't be liked by everybody in your head, the world won't stop and hold your hand through it. The world won't tell you everything's gonna be okay and that mindset is totally healthy. No. The world will move the fuck on. And I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm saying that because it's true. Don't live your life by shit like this. I've seen what it can do. This is dangerous song making, if you can even call it a song, despite how innocuous it seems to be on the surface. Cut that holier-than-thou attitude and come back down to the real world from that cheap-ass space you claim to be on in your video and album cover. Which makes perfect sense, because looking at your IQ points make me believe that you two were in some way oxygen-deprived. Number 2. Yeah, number 2 indeed. Number 1. Oh, how the great have fallen. Number 1 on my list was a no-brainer. As soon as I heard this song midway through 2015, I knew this would be number 1. I knew that it would take very, very, very extreme circumstances for any other song to beat this one for the worst. Now, I'm not gonna front. I love a lot of Madonna shit. Hell, Material Girl, Like a Virgin, Ray of Light, and Like a Prayer are seriously good tunes, and I thought she was really good in Dick Tracy and Evita. But this is the most sad, pathetic excuse of someone famous trying to stay relevant I've ever seen. Period. Yeah, even more than that. So, want to hear the worst thing ever?
We hit the elevator right up to the rooftop. The bass is pumping, make me wanna screw the top off. Yeah, we'll be drinking and nobody's gonna stop us. And we'll be kissing anybody that's around us.
Good God, this is Madonna? This is the Madonna we've all known and loved for years? It can't be. I mean, she sounds like some prehistoric entity that desperate people are scrambling to try to keep on life support through use of twisted machinery. That's the only way I can think to describe why she sounds like an exploding fembot from Austin Powers and why this beat sounds like something David Guetta jerked out of Calvin Harris's dick for his 450th remix of the same album. Madonna can't seriously think she's apt to make a party song, can she? I mean, at least now. You know, shit socialites dance to in a human nightclub that smells like sweat, loaded tampons, and 3-month-old vodka. The kind of shit LMFAO did that we all faintly remember alongside our stupid decisions from 5 years ago. And speaking of stupid decisions, get used to Madonna shamelessly trying to get you to fuck her like a $2 whore from a Detroit street corner. She does it a lot. Wait, shh. Can you hear that? That's the sound of your singing career being swept away. You know, like your movie career. You're 57, Madonna. At this point in your life, you only go hard until Matlock is over, then you go to bed. And by go hard, she means direct her nurse to give her an extra serving of pre-chewed asparagus. We're only a few lines into it, and already it's clear none of this shit adds up. Face it, Madonna, you're old. The only thing you should be writing now is your final will and testament. Yeah, you fucked Dennis Rodman, Vanilla Ice, and Tupac. Excuse me if I don't want to get AIDS. You'd probably be a more dangerous ride than those roller coasters at Six Flags that decapitate people. Don't get me wrong, you were probably like a virgin back then, but let's be honest, Madonna. Now you're more like a stretched out raw turkey. I'm talking full-on Christmas vacation shit. Fucking basted in warm dumpster juice and shit. Seriously. Quit offering yourself up to everyone every 15 seconds. It's sick and unappealing. I mean, why even ask? You've probably already had more depressed white people inside of you than a Denny's at 4 a.m. And speaking of depression, just look at yourself. It looks like Moses parted this bitch's teeth. Christ, Cecil the Lion has seen more dentists than you. I bet when your 26-year-old boyfriend wishes he could fuck someone younger, he just closes his eyes and pretends he's banging his mom. I mean, Jesus. Guy Ritchie, Warren Beatty, Lenny Kravitz. You've had more washed-up stiffs inside you than a California cemetery. That pussy probably smells worse than a skunk spraying a truckload of decomposing bodies and raw sewage atop an African landfill inside Flava Flav's halitosis-ridden mouth after eating a breakfast of rotten eggs and Gabri Sidibe's ass. I mean, fuck. Shit probably coughs and has a feeding tube in it. But enough about Madonna's festering hatchet gash that's been used more times than a Walmart bathroom, and onto the song that makes me want to eat a pistol blast.
We're jumping in the pool and swimming with our clothes on. I bought a beer and to my shoe and got my freak on. The neighbor's person says he's gonna call the pyro. If they show up, then we are gonna give a good show.
How is it possible for this song to be so obnoxiously crass, yet fully childish at the same time? Kind of like this video, now that I think about it. This is just getting pathetic. She keeps saying half the shit in this song with a pretense of harshness to it. I mean, how are we supposed to respond to that? By justifying a bunch of stupid crap by saying, bitch, I'm Madonna, are we supposed to be intimidated by you, or root for you, or what? I genuinely don't understand. And remember, this is a woman older than Barack Obama singing this. Can you picture him porking every slut in the room and getting tipsy off his ass at a rave somewhere? Yeah. It's just as non-believable as when Vaney here claims it. She's struggling to stay relevant and topical harder than she's struggling to gain custody of her child. But seriously though, why are you doing this, Madonna? The Madonna we loved never had to do this. Sure, she made some stupid decisions, and I mean some really stupid decisions, but her music still sounded authentic. Like, even when her songs steered towards stooping and awfulness, there was still a hint of herself in there. It's one thing entirely to try a new direction, a new spin on the craft, even if it turns out to be horrible, you know, like Matt and Kim with Hoodie On, or Rihanna, Kanye, and Paul McCartney with 4 or 5 seconds. But here, it's so apparent that this is an attempt to rip off what's popular to the point where, even though she repeats her name ad nauseum, you can't tell who the hell is singing this song. It sounds like something concocted by any other pop diva who has nothing fresh to her name. And that's what makes this so sad. To be at a point where instead of burning out bright, one of the biggest music stars on the planet is doing shit like this to appeal to a younger audience that she probably could have appealed to without this facade. We don't want to hate Madonna. She's been a part of our music culture so long that we want to remember her for good shit, not this shit. I mean, perhaps help from an outside source can save her?
I'm froze